whatever it is, like maybe, damn, I shouldn't have said this, or I shouldn't have said this in this tone or in this way. Acknowledge it and then see how you could just overcome it and move forward. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Driven. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing mistakes. Mistakes are part of life. I know growing up, we made a lot of mistakes, especially learning, going to school, making mistakes, whether it be on your work, making friends, with the teachers. Eventually, you grow up and you still are making mistakes. So pretty much, I guess my question is, I know mistakes are a part of life. So pretty much, what are some of the mistakes I guess you have made?
Well, I think one of the things that most people that they dwell on is mistakes. But I think it's extremely important to just surpass them, like learn from them and surpass them. Because I know there's still things that at least on my end, like I ponder on. Like, for example, I made this mistake or we made this mistake, like with Forma, like getting into that. Granted, we got out of it. But I think those mistakes, like, like buying too much of the unnecessary inventory, taught us a lot of valuable lessons. Like right now in our current business, Boartic Designs is doing extremely good because of all the mistakes that we've learned and not to do. Like, we're not overstretched here at Boartic Designs. Yes, good cash flow, very minimal debt, which I know we'll probably get rid of we'll get rid of in the beginning of next year, January, and everything will just be like cash flow positive. Like even like the vehicles, I think we made a mistake with the Porsche Taycan. And now we share one vehicle.
Yeah, well, I guess we could talk about that mistake because I think it was more of a YOLO impulsive decision.
And why wasn't made? Well, why do you think it was made?
Because it was just like we saw the neighbors. It's because the neighbors moved in from, we were in a business unit. I know a business moved in, and it was, I think, two brothers, or they were like, I think they were brothers, but they were a little older than us, but they drove in matching Taycans. One of them have a gray Taycan and the other one a blue one. And we're like, damn, that looks sick. Let's get a Taycan. We got a Taycan. Yeah. And I thought we were going to be past, from Forma, our previous mistakes of losing a lot of money or just buying the wrong inventory or making the wrong choice. I thought we were over it, but no. I mean, we kind of still made it.
That one was kind of the ego. We had an ego of like, man, these fuckers, like, technically we could afford it, but it was like our ego speaking for ourselves and kind of took over. One Saturday we're like, fuck it, let's just get it. Yeah. And then so like that was definitely a mistake, and I think that's something that we're not gonna make again. Unnecessary expenses. I mean, maybe like in the future, let's say have a little like treat per se as an example, but that was one mistake that was costly. How much was the overall like cost of it, you could say?
So when it comes to like, I'll talk about the money, also the time, and I guess just the loss in general. So I know we got it. We had to put a down payment of $5,000, and I know the monthly payments were coming out to be $2,000.
Yep,
$2,000. That's not including insurance. Insurance, they were quoting us $400 a month.
I thought it was $600. Oh, it was $450.
Well, it was the cheapest I was able to find was $450. I know like the average they were wanting to charge us was like in the $500s. It didn't pass $600.
Yeah, and for context, we live in California.
So that was a month, and I know we got it, and I think we had the Taycan for around like 6 or 7 months.
Yeah.
Around there. So imagine paying $2,000 every month. And the thing is, we didn't want to get insurance, so we didn't get insurance, so we didn't drive it.
So and so what happened was we got rid of it at I think in this year.
Yeah, we got rid of it.
And so how many miles did it have?
I think at most 250 miles.
Yeah, it had 250 miles.
At most. I think it was less. I think it was still in the 100s.
For 6 months, 250. That's what, like 80. No, that's like less. That's 40 miles a month.
Yeah.
40 miles a month. And I think that's just... That was a mistake that we made, and it was our ego.
Yeah, granted, we did use it for videos. So really, like, we used it when it comes to the marketing side, making videos, making social media. We really used it. We used it for paint protection film. We used it as a vehicle for the Amazon window tint tests, which I think that ad came out really good.
I think so.
96% retention rate. So like when it comes to the marketing purpose, we did use it. So, but when it comes to like us actually using it, yeah, it was just there. And so like, yeah. And so when we got rid of it, I know we had a negative equity, meaning that the balance was still higher than what they were willing to pay us. So we had to pay out of pocket, which I think was like $7,000.
Yep.
So imagine the initial $5,000 down payment plus the towards the end, the $7,000 to just get rid of it. Not including the monthly payments, minimum 5 months. So just imagine that.
I think that was the most recent mistake that we've made that we know that we learned from and we're not going to make again. And so, when it comes to the business, but then also I know we've probably made mistakes in our personal life, like personally.
Yeah.
Like, is there any mistakes that you've made and that you're like, you've learned from and then you're like, not necessarily like that, but is there any mistakes?
Well, I think there's a lot of mistakes. And when I mean mistakes, there's little mistakes here and there. Maybe the way you talk, your tone of voice, maybe like to your parents, maybe like you're just having a long day, stress day and whatnot, talking, maybe not responding the best. Like I know sometimes we as individuals, like who work or who have businesses or who have a high stressful job, even like management, like it could be like even retail, dealing with customers every day, like they poke at you, they nick at you, they bug you, and then you bring that home. Maybe the way you respond to even us, like maybe something's annoying us, and we've made that mistake. We had like somewhat of arguments, like we still have them. We still have them. And so it's just pretty much acknowledging that mistake or acknowledging that whatever it is, like maybe, damn, I shouldn't have said this, or I shouldn't have said this in this tone or in this way. Acknowledge it and then see how you could just overcome it and move forward. Because like in your everyday life, for me, I still make mistakes, like overall. Maybe I don't respond the best when when me and you talk. Maybe like with my partner, my wife, may not be the best response. Not making maybe enough time. Or with my parents, again, maybe not making enough time. So like it happens.
100%. And I think everyone experiences that. I personally experienced that too. But I think one of the key points is to learn from the mistakes. Because I don't think it's good to continue making the same mistakes over and over again. But I think as we learn from them, we are going to make them. And that's one of the things, like I know you said that before, that mistakes are going to be made. But I think it's important to try to learn from them and to not commit them again. And not to dwell on them.
No.
Because I know I've seen some people that dwell on those mistakes and then they don't want to. Like, for example, like our mistakes in business. I know that it took us this was our, I don't know what business was, like 4th, 5th.
Well, we could talk about it because I know. For me, if you want to go to like the bare beginning, I know I started selling Gatorades and waters at the park, which technically it was just, hey, I want to make more money. I want to buy a video game. Let me do that. Let me do that. And then I know eventually it was you with selling electronics on eBay.
On eBay,
like fresh out of high school, no? Or still in high school. And then eventually I know you got into World Financial Group, which is selling insurance.
Another business,
which I also got into it. If you want to talk about that, I got into sales door to door, which is it's a job, but it isn't a job because I know you get paid for what you sell. So that's kind of like the business. If you don't sell, then you don't get paid. And then after that, well, what did we do? We started Forma, which we started a liquidation pallet business. We used to buy liquidation pallets from Macy's, from other retail stores that pretty much like at the end of their season, they have a bunch of stock that it's already summer, but they have a bunch of winter clothing. So pretty much they liquidate it at like super cheap. We used to buy that. We made a business out of it, which we did kind of decently. I know we ended up doing over $100,000 in sales. Like 170 was our highest. And then eventually we got a warehouse and everything. It didn't work out. We got into that. And now we're here. So like how you saying, if we were to dwell on those mistakes, like, damn, I don't want to go into another $80,000 in debt from our previous business. Imagine we didn't start this business because we still had a bad taste in our mouth. Like nothing would be here. The warehouse, the pretty much everything else that is around us wouldn't be here.
And we will still pay. We will still be paying the
100%. We wouldn't. Yeah, we would have.
That's a lot of debt.
It is,
especially if our income wouldn't be as high. Not that it's high, but like if our income wouldn't be high, then we definitely, I think, we'll still be be paying them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like how you're saying, it's important to not dwell on those mistakes and learn from them, because we took all our lessons, all our mistakes that we've made, and we pretty much you could say put them together, and then now like I think those mistakes have helped us a lot.
Yeah, and those are the smaller mistakes. I know like the bigger mistakes were the 80K. Yeah. But I guess just going back on the bigger mistakes, like for personal life and maybe even business, I know it's really good to think ahead of time. Like if you have a big decision, or like maybe, I guess more than anything, you're on the fence of a big decision. One of the things that, I was recommended was pretty much sleep on it. Mm-hmm. So like, cause like the impulse for the Taycan, we could have easily slept on it. We could have gone, one day like, hey, should we get the Taycan instead of just that Saturday? Freak it, let's go. Because I know that Saturday we just went.
Yeah, I think we were trying to justify it too, like, and technically the justifications we were making made sense. Yeah, social media, that's a car that people like. It's a brand. It's a car, a nice expensive car, and when we test our products with it, people are gonna see like if they're testing it on that vehicle, then it's good enough for mine too.
Which it's 100% true. It's really true. Like, it's true.
So we were making justifications, but at that point, I think it was just unnecessary, because also like our social media wasn't like 100% there, and so yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, 100% just sleep on it. Sleep on it like a few days, because that impulse, it's gonna fade away. Mm-hmm. Because I know if we really were to think about it, like do the pros and cons. Like the pros, we would get like how we were trying to justify it. We would get really good marketing. We would get a good car to like where people want to put it on their car because we're putting it on a Porsche. Versus the cons, it's $2,000 a month. We had to put the deposit. We didn't even think about how much the insurance costs. We didn't even inquire. Yeah. And so like, and versus like that, and then also would we be better off just spending those $2,000, $2,400 on maybe a specialized social media person?
Which now we are.
Yeah, now we are, which is why we sold it.
And now that cash flow is free. And then there's also other things that we're getting rid of that were mistakes, like the printer. There's another equipment, but they like that one. But I know like, and also like certain softwares that
don't make sense.
Yeah, don't make sense. Just because of the simplicity of like just being able to do it on a worksheet or Google Sheet. But yeah, I think those mistakes, we learn from them.
Yep. So that's our mistakes. But I know now as the company is growing, we're putting individuals in certain positions where they're also leading other individuals. Mm-hmm. So one of the things, at least on my end, is just being with them every step of the way, but allowing them to make those small mistakes, because that's how we learn. They're not going to learn if they don't make those small mistakes. Granted, we're going to be there every step of the way to guide them, but that's another thing. Like, we can't prevent 100% of the mistakes. So if we try to just be like always on it, like one of the things I do agree with, I guess, managing and leading is in the beginning, you kind of do have to be really like on them for them to pretty much prove themselves, to make sure that nothing is, maybe if they're in a leadership position, making sure that they don't speak to like anyone else in a way that it shouldn't be addressed. So I agree, like kind of like, I forgot that word, micromanaging. I think to an extent in the beginning you kind of do have to be.
And with that, I would call it more accountability.
There you go, accountability. Other people refer to micromanaging because they have bad experiences with it. But you have to be really on them. Like if you're going to put someone in building them up to be a leader within a company, 100% in the beginning, you have to be on them for them to be accountable to you. Eventually, little by little, they start proving themselves. They're bringing in the results. They're going to make mistakes and you can't avoid them. Like, it also doesn't make sense being in charge of them like 100%, because then what's the point? You put in there for a reason.
Yeah. And one of the things that I 100% agree with is that you're saying, when you say allowing people to make mistakes, I think it's extremely important, because our two of our key people, let's say, like it was important to for them to make the mistakes, because now they learn from them. and I know they're not going to do the same mistakes. And so through that, they gain experience. They recognize patterns. Like if I do this usually leads to a bad outcome. So then they kind of are able to make better decisions based on the mistakes. Like I know on their back end, I know like one time our I think our Etsy account was suspended. And so like, okay, I can't or I shouldn't make any big changes because, maybe this might happen. Yep. Or for example, the pricing of a particular thing, like, okay, now I know not to change it dramatically like from the get-go, because otherwise they're going to suppress the listings and whatnot. And so now through that, now moving forward, like they gain experience. Yep. And they gain a lot of learning, and they recognize those patterns, and now like they're able to make better decisions because of those mistakes. So I think mistakes are in a sense good. Yep. Because they offer a very valuable teaching experience. Yep. And it's because like imagine we didn't make any mistakes. Yeah. And it's kind of weird to think that us not making any mistakes, but it's crazy to think, because then I think, let's say we were at this point and we never made a mistake, like the mistakes that would have happened now would be a lot more costly than making them at the beginning stages. And so like I think mistakes are a part of life, and we should learn from them.
100%.
But yeah,
100%. Yeah. And so like just with other people, allowing them to make those mistakes, it's gonna happen. It doesn't make sense being on them like all the time, because like I was mentioning, what's the point? At that point, what's the point of just putting them in that position? Mm-hmm. You had to allow them. Everyone is gonna make mistakes, and you yourself, myself, I know I'm gonna make mistakes. Like I am trying to pretty much based on my past experience, kind of just like predict of maybe this isn't the right choice, maybe this is the right choice, but they're gonna happen. And it's just like how you mentioned, don't dwell on it. It's gonna happen. Move on quick. Acknowledge it. One of the things, acknowledge it. Mm-hmm. See why that mistake happened. It happened because I did this. Okay, now like how you mentioned, now in the future, maybe I shouldn't do this, or I should do this. It's gonna happen. Acknowledge it, and then just keep moving forward.
No, 100%. But yeah, with that, do you have anything else to add?
No,
I think we've said everything, and I think just mistakes are not gonna happen, and I think it's extremely important that we don't dwell on them, and then we just learn from them. I think this is a key takeaway from that. But yeah, with that being said, if you don't have anything else, I don't have anything else. This has been another episode of Driven. My name is Juan.
My name is Alexis,
and we'll see you on the next one.